You know, I always tell people, just be your authentic self. Like, you can't change who you are, and nobody can be a better you than you, so you might as well own it.
I'm Kristen Flowers. I'm a morning radio personality on 96.5 KOIT in San Francisco. I love to talk, but especially when I get to talk to inspiring and dynamic women. So I've made it my mission to learn from them on how we can become more powerful and grow our voice. I also love getting manicures. This is Helly. She's the owner of Lacquer Bar in Berkeley. And not only do they do amazing work, but they're a feminist playground. That's why it's the perfect place for meetings and manicures. Today I get to speak with Mandy Fields. She's the VP and CFO at BevMo. She's only 37 years old and a mother of two. How did a woman as young as her get to this insanely high position? I'm gonna find out.
When was the last time you got your nails done?
I don't.
You don't ever?
I get pedicures, but I never get my nails done.
And why?
I don't know. I just feel like I never have the time to take the polish back off.
Yeah, and it looks so bad when it's like chipped and all that kind of stuff. It's terrible.
Whereas when my toes chip, just put on some boots. Exactly. Nobody knows the difference.
You are the CFO and the VP of BevMo.
I am.
And what's your favorite drink that they have? Is that the question you always get?
That we actually have to put it on the back of our business cards.
Really?
And because I could not make a decision, my business card is blank on the back.
Really? Oh my gosh.
It's a hard one. It depends on the day.
Yeah, it really does. There's one bottle of wine that I can only get at BevMo, and it's called Rosa Regal, and it's my favorite thing in the whole world. But it is so like sugary sweet that like I'm the only one I think that's like I buy stock in it at this point. When I see it, I buy the entire shelf because I'm like I don't know when I'm gonna be back. It's so good.
I will say my favorite wine has to be the Prisoner.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Is that a red or a white?
It's a red. Yeah.
Yeah. And what does it taste like?
Good.
It tastes good with a steak, all right? That's all you need to know. So I can't imagine that as like a 7-year-old girl, you were like, one day I'm gonna be the chief financial officer and VP. So what was it that you wanted to be when you were little?
Oh my God, I wanted to be so many different things. I wanted to be a beautician, I wanted to be a singer, a dermatologist. I mean, I just was all over the board. But you know, when I was a little kid, my mom's a single mom, and I used to help her kind of arrange her financials, help her decide, you know, what bills are going to be paid, and this is how much. Yeah. So I started doing that when I was probably like 12. I would help her out.
So young.
So young, but I just liked doing it, and so, you know, when I got into high school, you remember the books that used to be like a college career resource book, and it would tell you all the different careers that you could have and how much you would make in these different careers. And so I wanted to, after looking through that book, I was like, oh, an economist. They make a lot of money. I'm going to be an economist. Yeah, no, not so much. I took a couple econ classes in college, and I was like, that's not for me. So it came down to finance, and I have just loved it ever since because it's a little bit of accounting, a little bit of strategy, and I've just done very well with it.
Out of college, what was your first job?
I was in investment banking.
And that's primarily a man-driven job, correct?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and so how was that experience for you?
It was interesting. So not only was I in investment banking, but then I covered the oil and gas industry, which took me a step deeper into the male-dominated world. And you know, I was the only woman in the group, and they used to take me down to Houston, and we'd meet with these guys, and I remember specifically going to a steakhouse called the Strip House, and there were pictures of women. You know, they weren't naked, but you know, it was a little risque. And I said, wow, there's really no sensitivity here.
No, not really. Have you ever been in a position where somebody like made comments about you being a woman, like, or doing the job?
Not really. I think what people are most surprised about is how young I am to be in such a position. And even just a couple months ago, I was in a meeting. These other guys come in, and I think they thought I was like his assistant, and they're like, "And what do you do for the company?"
Oh, no.
And I was like, "Oh, I'm the CFO."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, good for you." And I'm
Good
like,
for
"Oh
you.
my, yeah, well, this is."
Yeah, you're dang right. Good for me.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks.
Oh my God.
So yeah, so I feel like I get that a little bit more than
the female aspect.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I am 37.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
I became
unbelievable.
CFO when I was 35.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. And I remember being I was 30. I think I was pregnant with my first kid, and I was having a performance review when I was at Safeway. And I told my manager, yeah, I want to be CFO, by the time I'm 40. And he's like, good luck.
Yeah. So you're a mother too.
Oh yeah, I have 2 little boys.
This has got to be just like an insane life you live.
It is an insane life.
Is there a way that you balance it all?
No, and I would tell anybody who says, oh yeah, there's work-life balance generally. I just don't think that it really exists or is achievable.
Yeah.
I think it's always just going to be a little bit crazy.
The more I talk to, especially like really accomplished women that are mothers, they always say like, I always feel like I'm failing at something.
Yeah.
Either I feel like I'm failing at like taking care of them by just like throwing some macaroni and cheese on the plate, or I'm not doing enough work as I used to, or things like that. Do you have that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I can't count the number of consecutive days my kids eat chicken nuggets.
But kids love chicken nuggets. That's to them, you're the best mom in the world,
But you feel bad, and I agree. I think that you can be firing on all cylinders at work, and then you feel like, oh, now I'm being a bad wife. I'm not at home, or man, I can't be there for the kids thing. Now I'm being a bad mom.
Yeah.
It never feels like you have it all perfect.
What does your mom think of your career?
So my mom, she's not in business at all. She's a nursing assistant.
Oh, okay.
And so when I told her out of college that I was going into banking, she's like, "Oh, are you going to work are you a teller?" So her level of understanding what I'm doing right now is
not quite, Mom.
Pretty limited.
She was a single mom growing up. Did you learn a little bit about that life?
I did. I learned that now being a mom and having a husband to help me out, I realized how hard it must have been for her with 2 kids. To be a single mom.
That's true.
And I have to say, my mom is probably the hardest working person that I know. And I want to tear up.
Oh, it's okay.
But I think that I get a lot of my work ethic from her.
What advice would you give for somebody that wants to get into the business world?
Yeah. Well, I would say that you have to choose something that you're passionate about. When I started doing banking, and covering oil and gas, I knew that was not what I wanted to do for the long term. So I intentionally sought out, how do I get into retail? Where can I go that would give me exposure to that? And at the time, my then fiance, now husband, he was relocating. I left New York and came out to San Francisco. And when I did that, I sent an email to the CFO at the Gap at the time. And I just said, hey, here's my resume. I would love to come work for you guys. And sure enough, a couple weeks later, I heard back, and then I had a job at the Gap. So I have to say, don't be afraid to just put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Because you never know who's willing to help.
The climate in business for women, have you seen it change in the years that you've been doing it?
I have. I mean, and I think it varies company to company. I think some companies are a lot further ahead than others, and it varies by industry. Like the apparel industry, I feel like is way ahead. And then you go to an industry like grocery, which is rooted in just old male. It's old and male. Yes. People who have been around for like 40 years in the industry, so it's very different. But I do think that, like for BevMo, for example, we have been much more progressive. Our chairman is a chairwoman.
Oh, very
is a
cool.
woman, yes, and we have adequate female representation on our board as well.
Oh, that's great.
So I think it varies, but I would say over the past 12 years, there has been a shift.
Was it a conscious shift? Do you think people were like, you know what, I think we need more diversity, or was it just that they're the best person for the job?
Yeah, I think it probably started with, we just need more diversity, and I think what people have learned over time is, you don't need to set a quota to have, for diversity, you will find people that actually fit the bill of what you're looking for, and they might just happen to be a woman, or they might just happen to be, African American. It can happen. I always tell people, just be your authentic self. Like, you can't change who you are, and nobody can be a better you than you, so you might as well own it. Like, there's a statistic out there that women won't even, women are, 80% less likely to apply for a job that they don't feel like they've met 100% of the requirements, whereas a man will apply for a job when they feel like they've met 20%. So I would have to say, you just have to be confident and know that you know what you know.
What do you guys like to do in the Bay? Do you ever go out and explore the city?
What do we like to do? We do a lot just around our neighborhood, because my oldest kid is in sports now, so he's in flag football and in baseball and soccer and basketball.
Oh my gosh.
So we spend a lot of our weekends just doing kid things.
Yeah, exactly. Are you hearing stories that it's getting better?
I would say that I think things are improving for women to go up through the ranks. Where I would like to see more happen is at the board level. I still feel like there's not a lot of women representation across that level.
And for somebody like me that's not super business savvy, the board is the end all be all?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the board of directors. They're the governing body. They, opine on the decisions that are being made by management, and they vote.
Asking for raises in the workplace. There's a lot of people that say that they don't have equal pay and everything like that. Is that our problem for not asking for it, or is that a corporate thing?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit 50-50
really
on it. I think I have a friend who is a male. He is very aggressive in requesting pay increases. I mean, every 6 months, I want to say, he's asking for more. And I just don't think a lot of women are programmed to do that. I'm not like that.
No.
I kind of put my head down, I do my work, but now that in this level, you kind of got to circle it back and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I've taken on additional responsibility. I've proven results. Can we have a conversation? But I think you can't be afraid to have a conversation, because closed mouth doesn't get fed.
Let's say I want to renegotiate, or I want to raise, or something like that. What's the best way to go in?
I mean, what has your impact been on the company, on overall results, and how have you contributed to that? I would say if your company still does performance reviews, that's a great time to do it. But if you feel like you've waited for that and that's passed, I mean, you still have an opportunity to go back. I mean, don't be limited to just a once a year conversation.
You can ask for a raise at any time?
That's right. That's right.
Are there any women that you look up to, I guess celebrity or pop culture wise?
I was at Whole Foods the other day, and this guy was like, "It's Michelle Obama," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I like Michelle."
Yeah.
But I just think about other women in business. I was thinking last night about, do you know Stitch Fix?
Yeah.
And Katrina Lake.
Stitch Fix.
Yeah, I do too. You just think about women that have really just taken a concept that they're passionate about and just really taken it forward. That company is over $1 billion.
In terms of appearance for women in business, what do you recommend that people emulate?
My husband calls me Blazer Betty. I wear a blazer every day. I think my team kind of makes fun of me too. We went to a Warriors game and I had on a blazer, a Warriors t-shirt. I mean, I don't know. It's just, you got to find your own style. Now, do you need to dress up every single day? No, we're a jeans culture at BevMo, so I don't.
Well, the blazer's awesome though, because you can dress it up and dress it down.
Exactly.
I know.
Yeah. I wear a blazer. I know. I see you. I see you.
I know. Mine's covered in cat fur though, so don't look too close at it. Is there a dream job?
A dream job. Retirement.
Man, oh man, seriously. Do you guys have any questions for Mandy? Are you interested in business or anything?
I've been really inspired though, doing the nails, and I was trying to focus, I was a little nervous at first, but then hearing you, I'm like, dang, I could do this and that, I'm going away from this, what can I do?
That's right. Yeah. You can do anything. I mean, I'm from Indiana. I was a small town, grew up and had opportunities to do other things. I went to speak to some girls at McClymonds a couple months ago, and you know, sometimes you just need to hear from somebody that's similar to you, you know, that has made it to another level, and then you can be inspired too.
Exactly.
But I did want to say it's so great to hear that other people welcome, you know, the questions.
Yeah, of course.
Level, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I find that so interesting because it's like, I mean, I would never even think to email, you know, like some huge like captain of industry and be like, hey, I want to be like you. Like, I wouldn't imagine that they would take the time out of their day, and it's so nice to know that there are people that are doing that.
That's right.
All right, I think we are done. They're chromed out.
Oh yeah. Very nice. The new neutral gray.
That's right.
Oh, nice meeting you too. Nice meeting you too. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching the video. If you like what you saw, hit the like button, and if you want to see more videos like this from me in the future, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Also, I have a link to some of the things that we talked about on this episode, and if you would like one of your questions featured in one of my episodes, make sure to leave a comment with a question you'd like to ask.